Up another thought to me is that, you know, if you make that effort, and here, sometimes I put the girls on such a pedestal that I was unable to even approach them because I put them in this realm where I couldn't, where no matter what I said was automatically going to be wrong. No matter what they were already, they were this, they looked 7 times better than they even looked. And the truth is that once you look at somebody for about 3 or 4 seconds and you're not afraid to break eye contact with them and stuff, they get a lot more real. So then you're not battling this in.
It's Brock, University of Central Missouri. So I got a question for you, how to handle something. So I'm kind of short. I don't really got a lot of confidence in myself when I'm at the bars with other people because I don't really know how to talk to a girl or do anything like that.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you right there, Brock. I appreciate your call, just like I appreciated it on the Monday episode. But I'm going to tell you this. My grandfather grew 2 inches in his 50s. So let me drop that into your fucking brain holes, into your side holes, into your fucking sound spouts. My grandfather grew 2 inches in his 50s. Something happened to him. Something in his plates and his, I don't know what happened, dude. Plate tectonic shift down in his genetics and padow. Next thing you know, Achilles, that was my grandfather's name, Achilles, and that's a true story. My father's name was Theodore Achilles, and he was suddenly 2 inches taller. And apparently, he didn't get along with my grandmother after that. Him and my grandmother, they had issues after that. So, and if that tells you anything, Brock, that tells you that sometime showing up small at first and maybe forever can be to your benefit, because this was the love of his life. This was the love of his life. And when he grew taller, when he stretched out, when God hit him with that magic 2 spot in his 50s, then he wasn't in love anymore. So, man, that's really, when you think about that at that height and that size and whatever stature he was at, that's where love met him best. And then height became an affliction for him as he aged. Height became an affliction for that man. And somehow just the gravitational pull, the balance, the vertica horizonticus, whatever it was, that spell that meshed him in with this bride of his, my grandmother, it fell off. And so, man, there was magic in being small. But I'll tell you this, Brock, we all have, insecurities and things that make us feel less than, At night, I'll be wearing a neck brace at night, because I want to stretch my neck out a little bit because I've always thought I had a small neck. I've always thought I've been a little bit shy in the neck, And the neck really is just that fifth arm. A neck is just that chubby fifth arm that's coming out the middle of your torso at the top. And people could say this or say that. No, that's what it is, It's that fifth appendage. It's that third arm. It's that, it's that short upper leg. That's all it is. It's that fifth appendage. It's that magical fifth appendage, the neck. Now, unfortunately, the other appendages, they don't hold much. 2 of them have a hand, 2 of them have a foot. But that neck, that's the one holding onto your head, man. That's the one running around with that crystal ball in its grasp. And I've always wanted a better neck, a longer neck. And so you'll catch me sometime in the evening relaxing with a cool drink and a neck brace on. And that's so, we all are short somewhere. We're all short of something. I want you to know.
Raised to think until I started just noticing that me just being myself and loving myself and saying, well, fuck it. It is what it is. Just living my life, taking care of myself. I was healthy, have a nice body and everything, and started noticing that actually I'm pretty good at getting girls. Girls are kind of coming up to me. I'm always quiet, shy. Somehow women would always come up to me. They would actually initiate stuff or send their friend to tell me that their friend thinks I'm cute and stuff.
There you go. There you go. Sometimes being shy and quiet can be to your advantage. That's what Henrik's telling you right there, Brock, is that, and that's true. I mean, Henrik's coming in sounding like that silent killer. He stays off in the cut, he's silent, but then he's killing it when it comes to the ladies. He's that silent killer. Emphysema, I think, is what it usually is. Or strokes or something, whatever. That silent killer, they always say, the silent killer, emphysema. Whatever's killing a lot of seniors, but that sometimes, it's not always that outgoing, loud, boisterous dude, because I can be loud sometimes, My default a lot of times when it's around women was to be loud, Be goofy or be funny. Say something, jarring, or, spit in this girl's hair one time. And I feel bad about that still. And that was in, I think, 6th grade. But to do something like that, some obtuse activity, something big, something loud. But that a lot of times women don't want that. They want a peaceful man. So if you're shy, another way to look at that is peaceful. So you're not just afflicting yourself by accusing yourself of being shy. You might also
like a young man, so I thought I could maybe help him out a little bit.
Thank you for the call. Onward.
Theo kind of mentioned, we all have stuff, and he's true, right? Like some dudes are skinny, some dudes are fat, some dudes are poor, some dudes, maybe are subconscious about being rich, who knows? But the point is that everyone has some kind of shit that they have to overcome before they can talk to, somebody of the opposite sex. So keep that in mind and just say, fuck it, man, and go for it. If you see somebody worth talking to, go and talk to them. And the other thing to remember.
And that's a good point. Is this that everybody has a hurdle to overcome. And let me say this to you, Brock, man, is that I don't know how old you are. I think you said you were young and you're in college there. So you're young, or you're young, on the 100-year span, you're young, you're in that 20 or, a 20-year range or whatever. So the things that are the most challenging to you now, I know you can't see it, dude, but I promise you will be the things that will be most rewarding to you in the future, And if you don't have any challenges, you're going to be a piece of shit. Odds are. If you don't have any struggle, then you're not going to know struggle. And if there's one thing, and I had a caller remind me of this recently, I think it may have been on one of the episodes, was that if I didn't have my life and I didn't have my struggle and I didn't have the things that I hated about myself or the things that I have hated, then I wouldn't be able to, then there's no journey. Then there's no journey, dude. And that, in the end, that's what it's about, man. It's about your story, What's your story? You were a beautiful, perfect-looking kid? You went to med school? You married a girl? You had 2 kids? She's blonde hair. You got 2 beautiful kids, You get a golden retriever? Y'all got some plants? Y'all live in Boston in a brownstone? Her father dies of Alzheimer's. The mother comes and lives with you. You take care of the mother, kind of, but not really. You guys go for weekends in Maine, and that's your life. Well, guess what, man? I just could guess your life because that's laid out. That's an easy one. No struggle. There's no turns. There's no turns if that's your life. But that's not your life, dude. You're blessed, bro. You are blessed with some struggle. And you're not going to recognize it now, fully. And I'm not trying to preach at you. I don't want your spirit to be sitting there hurting, man, because, I've spent years of my life hurting for things that I didn't need to be hurting for just because I was unable to hear other people talk about it and just to know I wasn't alone. So, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be typical, man. You're not typical, bro. That's amazing. I think that's amazing. Let's take another caller here. Here we go. And this may have been everyone. Oh, let's continue that call. I'm sorry I interrupted. There's a second part to that.
Is that it goes the exact same for women too. If you're subconscious about being short, I guarantee you that whoever you're going to go talk to is subconscious about something. But if you are willing and able to go talk to them, that might make them feel good because then they'll say, oh, somebody's looking past, my own insecurities. So maybe this is a good dude. So anyway, man, hope that helps.
That's a good point. That's a great point, man. And I appreciate that call from Colorado. A lot of good people out there. And that brings up another thought to me is that, if you make that effort, and here, sometimes I put the girls on such a pedestal that I was unable to even approach them because I put them in this realm where where no matter what I said was automatically going to be wrong. No matter what they were already, they were this, they looked 7 times better than they even looked. And the truth is that once you look at somebody for about 3 or 4 seconds and you're not afraid to break eye contact with them and stuff, they get a lot more real. So then you're not battling this image, of whatever, of women or of a particular girl, then you're actually talking to a real person. And sometimes I forgot that I was talking even to a real person. I got so insecure in my head about approaching women that sometimes I forgot It was like, oh, women, here's a girl, it's a girl, it's a girl, it's a girl. It wasn't even like, oh, here's a person. Let's see if I even like them. Let's see if they even like me. I automatically had it pegged in my head that I wasn't a match for women, that I wasn't a match for a girl just because she was pretty. I believe that about myself. I was like, man, I'm not a match for this girl. She's pretty. Why would she like me? But another way to look at this shit was, would I even like her? And half the time I realized that most women, I don't like them at all. I respect them and I think they're good people, but I'm just saying I don't have an attraction for them. Even though in my head, it was all about.
From Las Vegas, I got a little bit of advice for that Brock guy.
You bet, Nick. Thanks for the call, brother. Onward.
Who's a little worried about being short. He's got low confidence. Remember a couple things, man. It's not about your height. It's not about your looks. It's about your attitude. If you believe in yourself, if you have good things to offer, you'll get ladies. You'll have things to talk about. I hear a lot of people say that they're bored all the time, and I always remember this saying, you're not bored, you're boring. Stop being boring. Go out there, live an exciting life, and you'll find things to talk about with people. You'll have interests and hobbies and whatnot, and it'll come naturally. Beyond that, maybe stop trying to meet ladies at bars.
Wow. Boom. That's a good point. That's a good point. And look, man, for years I was out there. I was thinking that's where I had to meet a lady. That's a really great point. I mean, that first point is great. The more circles you put yourself in. And I was talking to Joe Rogan the other day, man. I was having a tough time, and he's listening to me at the Improv, and a good dude, man. He's listening to me and he's saying, you got to stay busy. You got to find things to do. You can't wait for your life to just show up the way you want it to look. You need to be out making your life. And he's right. And I remember a girl told me that one time with what our caller just said. A girl told me I was at the UCLA Recreation Center. And she asked me what had been going on. A girl that I thought was cute. She's like, what's been going on? I said, not much. I'm just bored. And she said, well, if you're bored, you're boring. And that stuck with me because the truth was, dude, I was boring. There wasn't anything special in my life. There was some things going on, but there wasn't some things I was doing. And the more you do, the more people you meet. And guess what? Some of the people are going to be girls. I don't care if it's painting. I don't care if it's fucking juggling. I don't care if it's, stretching and yoga and trying to look up your own asshole. More stuff you do, more people you're going to meet. Because guess what? Everybody likes to try and look up their ass at least once. I don't care if they're man or woman. Onward.
If you go get into a yoga class, you might meet a lady there. You start going to the library, checking out books, you might meet a lady or whatever you're into there.
Hey, if you can check out books, you can check out bitches. Feel me? Onward.
Get out and live life and stop going and sitting in front of a bartender every night. And maybe some good things will happen, man. And I'm only speaking from experience, not speaking down on Brock or anybody else who's in that position. I've been there myself. So just get out there and live it, man. Thanks for the podcast, Theo. Take